As many of you already know, but I'm sure there's a lot who still don't, as of January 2021, I submitted my resignation and I've moved on to the next stage of my life, which is, of course, retirement. And while this last year has been amazing, it has also been not exactly what I was expecting. Of course, the freedom from the normal workday responsibilities have been fantastic, and my outlook on life has really improved. I mean, just ask my wife about that. Still, there are some things that I'm sure other new retirees can attest to that has been kind of tough to deal with. And that is asking the question, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Before we go any further here, I want to update you on a couple of things. First of all is I've added a gear page back to my website. I had it out there years ago, but I've had several inquiries here lately about some of the gear I use. So I have, again, added a page with links on how you can go about buying the gear that I use, as well as links to video reviews and so forth that I've done over the years. I'll be adding to this as we go along. Right now, I just have links for my riding gear and my packing gear, the bags and things that I use, but I'm going to be adding camping gear and other things onto this list again as time goes on. The second thing I want to make you aware of is that we are having a sale on my Creating Epic Road Trips online course, where I teach you everything that I have learned over the years about creating GPX files and planning a route and so forth. More than 3 hours of material there as I go through step by step the process that I use. Right, so in the past, this video course has been listed as $79, but I am now selling it for 50% off at $39.50. For the next little while, I want everybody to start to plan for next year, for 2022. Let's make this a great year of riding, so I want to make that available to as many people as I possibly can. Now, yes, I was able to get out over the last year and do some great riding. We did a 10-day trip through New England. I did another 10-day trip on the Northeast BDR. Well, that one was cut a little bit short because of a mechanical breakdown, but we won't go into that here. But also, I was able to go out and do a lot of other riding just by myself and with my group of friends. So this has been a great year of riding, but the problem is that it ended a little bit too early. Most of this riding was finished before August, which left me with a lot of time to start thinking about what it was that I wanted to do with the remainder of this year, but also going out into next year, into 2022. So my personal travel Jones is scratched by getting on the motorcycle and hitting the road for long periods of time. So that probably will not change, at least for the foreseeable future. But just how we go about scratching that itch, well, things may change just a little bit. So one of the things my wife and I have been talking about is that in the past we have had these vacation time restrictions, right, where I had to return to work or she had to return to work. So now we're a little bit more free to allocate our time. And we want to do some things while we're out there traveling that aren't necessarily motorcycle related. Right, yes, we may use the bike for the travel, but are there other museums, other things that we want to see that we weren't able to do when we were, restricted by those vacation time limitations or just by being on the motorcycle? I mean, riding is fantastic, right? We really enjoy our time on the bike, but when you have all of your gear on and everything is packed into one small space, sometimes it gets a little bit restrictive as to what you can do off of the motorcycle. So the first thing we want to change is how we allocate our time. In the past, we have basically moved from one location to the next day after day so we could cover a certain amount of ground in the time that we had available to us. Right, but now what we would like to do is maybe ride to one area and stay in that area for a few days, exploring and seeing all of the things that it has to offer. Maybe do some shorter day trips that would allow us to get off the bike again and go to those places that we would really like to see and spend more time at. So along with this philosophical change, we also have been talking about whether or not all of our travel needs to be done with a motorcycle. Now, in the past, of course, this would have been absolute sacrilege to me. Right, not riding my motorcycle from my home all the way out to where I wanted to go and then back home again. I just could not stomach that at all. I don't want my bike to be on a trailer. But now we're starting to rethink that a little bit. So here are some of the options that we've been thinking about. So option one is to get a pull-behind motorcycle trailer. And the reason we want to do this, or at least that we're thinking about doing this, is because as we're now on a fixed income, finances becomes a bigger consideration as we're traveling. So camping will become a bigger part of our adventures, especially when I'm traveling solo. Because the idea is that I'm going to go out on a long trip, but Kathy doesn't necessarily want to join me on all of it. So she might fly out and meet me in a location, and then we'll travel together for a few weeks before she flies back home and I continue on the road. So if we're going to do that, how do we carry all of the camping gear necessary, plus her gear, my gear, right, and the two of us together on a single motorcycle? It gets to be very difficult, especially if you want to be comfortable out there. And for a couple of old people, well, that's very important. Now, I would be pulling this trailer with my K1600 GTL, so power and brakes I don't think are going to be an issue on this motorcycle at all. I don't think it's going to even know that the trailer is back there. Sure, there's going to be some additional wear and tear, and we might have to change tires a little bit more often, but I think overall we should be just fine, again, with a nice lightweight trailer. So the two options that I'm looking at are, one, I'm looking at the UNI-GO single wheel trailer to pull behind the K1600. The second option I am looking at is a BUSHTEC trailer. Probably the Quantum Sport trailer is what I've been looking at. The BUSHTEC trailers are widely known as the best in the business. Right? They track really well, they have a great suspension system on them, and they are built extremely well and have great customer service. So they're number one on the list, but they are more expensive, running between $5,000 and $6,000 for a new trailer. The UNI-GO trailer, on the other hand, is lighter. It is much less expensive, at somewhere in the $4,000 range to get one set up on the bike. However, I have read a lot of bad experiences with customer service, with people waiting on trailers far longer than they were originally quoted, and I've read about a few quality control issues on these trailers. So right now, the BUSHTEC is the one that I'm thinking about. So the second option is to trailer the bikes behind my Toyota Tacoma pickup truck. Right, I have a Kindon 2-bike ride-up trailer, right, that I use to take bikes to the dealers and so forth when they need work. So what we could do is trailer the bikes on there to wherever we wanted to go, and then set up camp for a few days, and again ride in a given area. Right, this would give us the truck for those long days on the interstates, or for days when it's really horrible and raining, we need to get around from place to place. So that is a big plus. The drawback to doing that is that it really changes the nature of the trip. Right? It makes it more into an overland excursion rather than a motorcycle excursion. Again, there are pros and cons to that, and I'm still debating whether I'm ready to take that step. Of course, one of the biggest pluses to this option is that it would cost very little. I already have the truck, I already have the trailer. I might upgrade my camping gear a little bit, but that would be a very small outlay of money in comparison. Now, option number 3, well, that is to purchase a small toy hauler RV that we can pull behind, again, that Toyota Tacoma pickup truck. So we're going to be limited to a gross vehicle weight rating of around 5,000 pounds to safely pull behind that Toyota. I'll also need to do a few upgrades to the suspension system, right, to make sure that it's not going to sag when we put a trailer on there. But there are a couple of trailers that would fill that need rather nicely. One would be the Cherokee Wolf Pup, and the second one would be the INTECH Discover RV. Both of those things are relatively lightweight, right? And I think we could pull them fairly easily with the Toyota. However, buying one of these things is going to run between $20,000 and $30,000. On top of that, we're going to have, some add-ons, as I mentioned, that we're going to have to put on the truck. And we're going to have maintenance and gas mileage issues on the truck. Of course, towing anything like that is going to add some wear and tear to the vehicle, and our gas mileage is probably going to be cut in half, at least, by pulling a trailer like that, especially when we're towing it uphill. So the cost savings that we're going to get from carrying our little mobile home with us, right, will be probably more than offset by the increased gas costs and maintenance costs that go along with these things. And of course, we have what I think is the biggest question, is that are we ready to join this RV lifestyle? Are we ready to give up the travels on the motorcycle, right, and instead switch to more of an RV-based form of travel? And like the trailering the motorcycles around, I don't know if I'm there yet. Now, of course, having all of these choices are proverbial first world problems, right? It's great that we have these different options to choose from and that we are in the situation where we can even consider them. So in my heart, I still want to travel by motorcycle. Right? I still want to get on the bike right here at my home, and I want to hit the road and travel and have all of that experience while on the bike. So buying a pull-behind trailer is very attractive to me, at least at this point. However, I am also open to trailering the bikes, again, with my Toyota pickup truck. Again, the RV, again, at this point, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet, whether I'm all in with that. But there are things we are still considering and thinking about. So we're going to have the rest of the winter to ponder these questions and figure out what it is that we want to do. But I thought we might get your input on doing this as well. So let me know, have you guys, any of you out there, bought a pull-behind trailer? What did you buy? What are your experiences with them? Have you trailered the bikes around the country? Again, what are your experiences with doing that? And have any of you gone to the RV lifestyle, right? Especially with a toy hauler where you could carry at least one bike on the inside of it. So again, I want to hear what you have to say. Let me know. So as we're trying to make these decisions, right, I have some good input in doing that.